evening, boys and girls. Also today, I'm here to make another step forward in our game. Incredibly enough, we made a lot of progress lately, but yeah, tonight will be a good one because we're gonna kill a monster. I don't know if it's really gonna die, meaning we will see that thing dying, but I think we can. I think we have a die animation somehow. Now we have to understand how to play it and stuff. But yeah, let's recap. Let's recap where we are. Okay. By the way, this is stream number 96. Isn't crazy that I streamed already 96 times? I think it's a lot. We're getting closer to 100. If you think about it, 100 streams is quite an achievement. I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, with an average of about 3 hours per stream. Some streams are 2 hours, some streams are 5 hours. But with an average of about 3 hours, 3 hours and a half is, let's say it's more than 300 hours. I think it's probably between 300 and 400 hours. So yeah. Hello Zway. Welcome. So let's recap where we are, okay? Oh yes, you remember this picture? Set is replicated, please. Yeah, that actually worked okay. This worked okay, so the answer was yes. The answer was yes. We did it. Okay, so let's go back to our mission. Actually, I named this chart Unreal Mission Combat. It's not exactly combat in the beginning, but these are all the prerequisites that we needed to have, these things, to have combat working, right? Or anyway, yeah, all the prerequisites that we needed to have. So the first thing was to enable combat mode with tab. Actually, this one I would say is 50-50 done, in the sense that we trigger combat mode just on the client side, and yeah, it's not yet replicated. You see this? So that's the problem we have at the moment. It's not yet replicated. So we will have to change that. Import the shields. Yes, we imported all the shields. Well, all the one that we have, but it's a really good amount. Equipping a shield, equipping a weapon, done. Importing some helms, we did it. We actually imported all the helms. I think I should do the same change here because we imported not some, but all the helms that we have. Now, we still have to adapt it somehow to each character, but it's pretty good. Equip an helm, done. And then we had this mission, enable load of equipped item chart loading. So actually yesterday we arrived so close to it, but so close. It was insanely close, but unfortunately it was too late. I had to go. So I checked again what was the problem, and actually the problem was super simple. In our character loader, when we load all the items, I don't remember if it's in PS character or character loader. When we are loading all the items and we are sending the keep item message, keep item, oops, case. Let me show you. Yes, we were sending a keep item, there's a keep item and false and true. So this one was to true because I was thinking, if I keep something, is a true, right? A keep true, and it's not, because for whatever reason, a keep is 0, and the keep, so remove the item, is 1. And I don't know why, but this was just the enumeration. It was done this way at that time, and so it was not working only for that reason. So I just turned it from true to false, and now it's working properly. It is pretty amazing. So yeah, so recompiled, launched, and it works okay. So this is where we are, right? Now, do you want to see it? You don't believe me? Okay, you don't believe me, I show you. I show you, I launch the server, I launch the client, and now our character properly equips the items that, yeah, probably keeps the items that he has in his inventory kit. So, which is pretty good. And it is done through replication of the static mesh. So another thing that I'm pretty satisfied about is that we didn't have to create a new actor for each weapon, but we just, is the server up? Yeah. But we created a static mesh, and on the static mesh we just said that set is replicated, which is this thing here that we tried to do, and it actually worked okay. And so it's actually replicated. Now here in the character selection screen is not yet loaded because this one is just a dummy character. It's not a real character. Okay, so it's just a dummy. So we will have to change this. Okay, so we will have to probably also in this screen have the real character and such. But if I click on play, automatically, as you see, as soon as I enter the game, I have all the equipment, apart from the fact that it's night as usual. But okay, I can override this. Apart from this, I have all the items that I need to have. So I have my falchion equipped, I have my helm, and if I put a shield, I also will have the shield. So everything is working as expected. Yeah, now I have also the shield. It's not very visible, but if I do this, it's more visible. Yeah, the camera is always a bit of a mess. Now, and I can swing, you see? I can swing and attack. Pretty good. Seen an armor going around. Okay, so that part is done, right? So we can consider it done. Let's see what happens if I hit this. Nothing. Because actually there is a collision, you know, between me and the armor. So if I hit the armor, in theory, it should move. Well, not move that way. I mean, where is it gone? I lost it. Went back. I lost the armor completely. Where did it go? Ah, it's there. So if I actually hit it, it should. Boom! You see? Da-da-da! Surprise, surprise! Yeah, I think that because collision and physics are enabled on that armor. Where did it go? Oh, it's back there. So I think it's just the fact that I hit it that is pushing it somewhere, but then, hello, stop. See, if I hit it like this, no. I have to be a bit close. Boom! Holy shit! Look at that. Okay, now physics are a bit exaggerated maybe, but this proves that I can hit. You know? I can hit and boom, I move this armor wherever I want, but then for some reason the server is going, you know, it's going back to the position where it was after a few seconds, but it's fine. I think it's pretty good. So our other items loaded and our equipment loaded and everything's good. So we can say, this picture I think we can delete. We don't need this anymore. So we can say that this part of the mission, this one, is done as well. Yay. Another check mark. Another check mark. Hello, Maui. So, Now, what do we want to do next? Actually, I had to, yeah, I wanted to do this. I wanted to bind left click to attack and right click to parry, and change the animation based on weapon I have equipped. Okay, well, yeah, that's fine, but the real thing I want to do is to, so I don't know if this mission I will really do. I mean, yes, I want to do it, but the thing I want to do, I want to hit a monster. So I want to hit and kill a monster somehow. So mission, deal damage to a monster with a melee weapon, right? Which seems to be easy, but in reality is triggering quite some of our subsystems. It's not just, I mean, it's not that easy as you think, because we are actually, yes, using a lot of the stuff that is on the server side. I mean, it's not just swinging. Let me go away from that fountain. It's so loud. It's not just to say, okay, you swing and you hit, right? I mean, we actually need to decide how to do this. So if we want, I mean, for now we can just have a kind of a hit like this. Okay, so I'm just hitting when I, and that's fine. I don't know exactly how I want to do it. So in theory, we should click, right, and we should send our attack to the server. So basically doing nothing on the client, sending the attack to the server, and only when the server says yes you can attack, then actually attack. Because we may be, I don't know, freezed by a spell, we may be encumbered with too much stuff on our inventory that we cannot actually, you know, move. We may not be able to use the weapon that we have in our hand because, I don't know, it's too complex, we don't have the strength or whatever. So there may be a million rules, you know, before we can actually attack. So it's not just that I want to do this and attack, but I want to, yeah, I want to send to the server the request that I want to attack. The other thing we need to do, we need to add a monster, right? And I don't want this to be just an NPC like this, because I think it's a bit boring. I want to add a monster to the game, and so we have it, you know, yeah, so we can actually hit it. How to do this? No idea, but we will discover together. So first thing is, do we have a monster or not? We have. So we have already a monster in the game somehow. So if I launch the editor, which I don't have open at the moment, no. But if I launch the editor, why this thing sometimes pops up? If I launch the editor and we go and add, let me close the client anyway, because we will have to restart it. We will have to restart it anyway. So we start the editor and we want to add a monster. Now, a monster is not just dropping the monster into the level. Okay, so adding a monster is going into our database under characters, creating a new NPC, which is actually visible somehow. And so, for example, oops, our fighter. I think some of these fighters are actually, are actually here to take damage. I think they've been invented for this. So this fighter, right, is race ID number 2. So what do we need to do? We need to add a new race, because I don't think we have a race for monsters. Well, actually we do have. That's pretty cool. We have monsters in, so we can just rename we can just rename, or we can add a new one. Let's add a new one, why not? So we had a monster number 33, which is called Lavar, and in terms of mesh, I think we'll have a mesh called Lavar. Sex is neutral. Sides is, what is this sides? I think there is the sides of the collision box, which at the moment we are not using, and I think we will not use anymore. So let's keep it how it was, but I think we are not using these values anymore in Unreal. Then we need to define his initial statistics. Let's put 50 to everything. I think it's fine. Physical regeneration. Let's keep all these characteristics the same, because I don't have. I don't know exactly how these are calculated now, because I don't know which rules we have loaded, but it's fine. So, and then the race. I don't know what is the race. The race, I think, is the same thing as the ID, right? I have no idea. I would put race 33. Why should put anything else in 33? And the scale will be 1, and the last one, what is it? The last one is the speed modifier will be 1. Okay, so we entered this guy. Well, we entered this race. Okay, so now we have defined a new race in the database, which is number 33. Now we need to add a new character, or to convert one of these characters. Let's convert fighter number 1. Okay, so it will have race ID number 33. All this stuff I think we can leave the same. Yes, I think it's pretty much the same. The hit points will be the same and such. Everything else. The only thing we have to change is their position, because unfortunately the position is not this one. So maybe we can take the same position of this other character and just change it slightly of, I don't know, 1 meter or 2 meters. So let's do this change. If I change like 3 meters here and 2 meters here, I think would be fine, right? So they will not clash one on the other. So we do apply. Now we are not loading all the NPC. We are only loading a subset of NPCs when the server starts. So we have to change that. We want to go here in character loader and say if count equal to 3, then stop, right? Instead of equal to 2, because we are now loading only the first 2 NPCs, and with that change we load the first 3 NPCs. So that's okay. Now what do we have to do next? We have to ensure that we have one monster loaded somewhere. Yes, which is this guy. Now the problem is that I think we need this guy to be a blueprint. I mean, not to be a blueprint. I think we need this guy to be an actor. If he's not an actor, I think we cannot spawn, right? So it should be similar to our Dermorian character or Cran character, right? So I think what we can do, let me just think about it, because it should be, well, yeah, it should be a subclass of PS character for sure. It should be a subclass of this, because it needs to have all the characteristic of a player exactly in the same way. So it should be a subclass of this. And now I don't remember exactly how did I create this though, because let me double check the sequence of the logic, whatever, because I don't remember it. If I go under Plan Shift, PS, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? No, it's not on this drive. Yes, it is on this drive. Should be under PS, Unreal something. Unreal class, Unreal classes. Okay. As soon as this starts, okay, you should see it, right? Okay, so we have this sequence. So character, APS character blueprint, and then so we need to inherit from the character blueprint, right? I'm just a bit surprised that when I look at this is what confused me. If I go under their math character, it says that my parent class is PS character, which in reality, I mean, it is from the C++ point of view, but the first, oh, why it says that? Okay, I don't know. I mean, should not say that because our parent class is actually PS character blueprint. Is this one? So how do we create a new blueprint class which has this skeleton, these animations, create, because this one is the skeleton, right? I don't remember how I did it. You know how to do it? So basically I need to create a new, I mean I can do new blueprint class, but the point is that I need to, okay, I think I can do it from here. So if I do PS character blueprint, okay. So I inherit from PS character blueprint, and well, let me do it in the right directory though, because I would like to do it here. So I say derive from PS character blueprint, and this one will be called lover character. The only point is that I want inside this character to have my monster, right? So how do I do this? I need to add under mesh. So it's the same as the cran. It's the same as the cran. How did I add my? I think I added here. Okay, I added it on the skeletal mesh. Okay, it's pretty simple. So you go here, you create your new blueprint derived from PS character blueprint, and then under skeletal mesh we select our lover, which is our giant skeleton, whatever, right? Now it doesn't seem right in terms of scale. For some reason it doesn't seem right in terms of scale, but I think we can fix it. Also it seems to be facing not the right direction, because usually they are facing the X direction. So I think we need to rotate it on the y-axis of 90 degrees. No, it's not the y-axis. We need to rotate it 90 degrees. No. So it's on the Z. Yeah, it's on the vertical. Okay. Minus 90 degrees. So if you rotate it minus 90 degrees, it will be facing the right direction, which is already a good point. And we need to scale this guy up, because at the moment it's super small. It would be like a baby monster, you know, which can be fine, but I think I want a normal monster. So this guy, I don't know why it's so small, by the way. I have no idea. So I want to scale it at least by 2. At least. Probably more, because that is the capsule, I think, of the standard character. So it seems very small. I mean, we can try like this. We can try like this and see how big it is. Now, do I need anything else? Or should I just connect the skeleton? I think I can just connect the skeleton. And then animation class. I think I will have to create also an animation class, but not 100% sure. But anyway, let's try to drop this guy into our map, okay, and see how it looks. Just because I want to see the proportions with the rest of the world. So if we go under maps, Iliacum, and we open our main map, so if we go down here, and we open our map, and I can just drag and drop it into the world, it's not a problem. To have a reference, I think we can use this armor, right? Which I think it could be good enough reference. So if I go on the blueprint and I drop this guy here, it's still extremely small. What the hell? Why is so small? It's like 10 times smaller than what it should be. I think we messed up a bit with the... That's okay. We can change it. I mean, scaling it, just clicking on the button and saying 5. Maybe that's a bit too much. But let's see. No, I think it's okay actually. It's kind of flying. It's kind of flying. Should be on 0, 0, 0. We can put it down, but I think it's okay. It's not too big. I mean, it's kind of fine. In reality, this monster is bigger, but for now, I think we can keep it like this. Even if here it looks big now, but unless this capsule is not really correct, but it looks big. Let me check the character, cran character. No, I think if you look at the squares, the cran character looks definitely bigger. Okay, and by the way, is centered. Okay, is half down into the ground. Okay, that I didn't consider. So I think I need to move this guy half into the ground. So is like the capsule, right? So it's as big as the capsule. Okay, I think it is fine, right? So let's leave it like this and see what happens. Now, I don't know if he has automatically the animations and the idle animation and all this stuff. I don't think so. I think we probably need to create blueprint for animation, but for now, let's say it will be just a kind of a dummy character standing still, right? If we could play the idle animation, I think it would be nice. An in class, use animation blueprint. Yeah. Our crime character is still bigger though. Wow. It would be a small monster. I think it's probably scaled 10 times, right? I think because I did like a 5. Let me try 10. Maybe 10 is super huge. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's too big. Maybe it's really, really big. Let's see. I think it's about okay. So I think we scaled it 10 times. I think the size of the... Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a mix between the two. I think like this is a bit too much, but it's okay. We'll leave it like this. We'll be a big monster. Okay. Now to be able to play the idle animation, what I need to do, because this character, as you see, is not moving at all. Our cram character is moving because he's using animation blueprint, and then he's using animation class. Cran anim blueprint C, cran anim blueprint C, which I think is under cran anim blueprint C. Is this thing? Is it a specific class or what? No, this one is Cran in Blueprint, so it's not that one. I don't have any love or something, so there is a Cran in Blueprint. Okay, he calls it Cran in Blueprint. Okay, yeah, is that one? Is that one, right? Yeah, is that one, Canon in BP. So we need to create another one which is similar to this, which is an animation blueprint for our lover guy. So I need to create an animation blueprint, and we will call it, okay, Giant. Actually, this guy is called Giant, but I think we will change it. I mean, I think we will re-import anyway this monster completely, so, but just in case, for now we leave it like that. So final animation, so we have all these animations. It's automatically taking all these animations, which is nice. Now I'm not completely sure what I have to do in this graph, but I will just try to connect this to this and see if this guy starts the idle animation. I think it does. Wow, that is pretty cool. Why doesn't it move here though? Because I need to say lava animation. Yes. Okay, kind of works. So it moves. His belly is moving. Bloop bloop. His belly is moving. His hands are moving. Everything is moving. So I think it's fine. Okay. Now we don't want to have him added to the game, like I was saying. We don't want to have him added to the game, like dropping him into the level, right? So we don't want this. So we delete it, and we delete this guy as well. So we don't want to pollute our level in any way. But we want to add it by the database. We want to add it by the database. Now, I think this should be pretty much okay already, because we named it Krantz, no, we named it Lover something, right? Lover character. So I think that this allows the game to actually load the character, and yeah, I think it will. So if we recompile, and if we delete this, and cannot delete it because the editor is open. Okay. No, I don't want to save that. Okay. What is still running? Nothing. I delete it, please. Okay. Okay, so we deleted that. So now we just recompile. And we because we changed the number of characters, so that's the only difference, right? So we have one character more. We have one character more. Okay, so let it recompile, and then we can compile it clean and see what happens. So now what I'm expecting is that the new character is loaded. I don't think that he has any weapons or armor or anything on himself, because we converted the fighter one. So I don't know if the fighter had like some weapons or some equipment. We will see in a second. Okay, it's completing. It's particularly slow, I think, because some of the base classes changed, so it's taking a bit more time, but should be done soon. Okay, it's compiled now. So let's launch the server and see if our new monster is properly loaded. I think we can just see it in game. If we see the monster in game, means that it's properly loaded. Otherwise, we will receive some errors now when we try to launch it. Hello, see some people joined. Welcome to the stream. We are working on adding a monster to the game and actually doing damage to it, which is what we want to do tonight. Well, let's say between tonight and tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to finish today, but between tonight and tomorrow night, I would like to be able to... Okay, there is an error saying that race spawn point... Okay, so... Yeah, we added a new race, but probably we missed some stuff. In fact, our server bailed out with an error, and he said something like, what is it? Could not load race info, race spawn points for race 33 not found. Okay, I think we missed one table. There is another table called is NPC spawn rules or no? I think it's race spawns. It's this one, race spawns. Yes, I think this table, yeah, at the moment is like this, but we need just to duplicate this line. Copy row, paste row, and we need to change to 33, right? Which is the new race that we added, right? So I think it should be fine now. Let's see. Should be fine now. Okay, it's kind of loading. You see that we get also some additional messages, like the lover character is getting his own stats. So now we don't know if these stats are valid or not or whatever, but like HP values 1 or HP, I mean, we don't know. This is probably not getting calculated right, because it's just on dummy functions for now, but let's say this character got some stats updated, which we can read then by like a target window. I think at the moment we don't have a target window, but we can create it. I mean, the one that tells you how bad or how good the monster you have in front looks. So in terms of HP, in terms of remaining health, but we can do this. Okay, so let's see if our guy is here somewhere. Yes, it is. He's inside a tree. Okay. Oh no, he's not inside a tree. He had a weapon. Okay. He actually had... Okay, so the system is kind of working, but if you see, since we derived it from the... wow, it is scaled 10 times because the base monster is scaled 10 times. Okay. So this character was a normal character with a double axe in his hand, and so what the engine did, it basically it couldn't find a socket which is called right hand or left hand on this monster, and so it defaulted to 000, which is the middle of the monster. Plus, I think he scaled it 10 times because our monster is scaled 10 times. times, and so automatically apply the same transformation, which makes it a pretty cool looking monster. But let me see if we can add, let me add a socket to this guy, okay, so that maybe it will also be, it will be able to equip something. Why not? Just for fun. And in that case, I think we will have to scale back the socket 10 times, because otherwise it will still keep that huge axe with him, you know, which is not what we want, but I think it's fun to see. Okay, so we will go in the skeleton and we will add, we will go here in our skeleton, and if you want to show the bones, we can show the bones, even if I think that no, these monsters are pretty much okay. Oops, moving too fast. These monsters seems that they are okay, but yes, the monster is definitely imported wrong, so it's imported as a super small. So we will go in one of these bones. Hopefully, I think we can use, let me see, we have the neck, the forearm, the hand. We have the hand, left hand and right hand. I don't see it. Where is the right hand? Is here. Okay, the right hand. So which stands there. It seems to be okay. So on this one, we're going to add a new socket, and we will name it our hand, exactly like we have it on our characters. Now we may decide the position of this thing. Let me remove the bones. So we may decide the position, and in theory we should also decide the rotation, but for now we don't have a lot of information on the rotation, so let's just put it like in the middle of the hand, and yes, okay, just put it like here. I think it'll be fine. And then we create another one which is called left hand, and this one will be connected, yes, to this bone, and also for this maybe we just move it a bit in the middle, yeah, like this, so it's pretty much in the middle of the hand. Okay, and let me see if this one rolls out. I think they are okay. I mean, they're not perfect, but who cares, just as a test. Okay, so now this guy has also two sockets, and considering that he has two sockets, he should be able, but we have to scale the socket down, we said, right? So relative scale, let's try to go 0.2. So it will still be a very big X. It will still be a very big X, but well, no, it will be like 2 times, right? Because we scale it 10 and now we are scaling down 5, so it will be 2 times a normal X. And so yeah, we close this and we save it, and we just relaunch the server and see what happens, right? So it is pretty good that we have the monster in game, meaning that all our logic of loading up is working, and also you see the equipment is working because he tried to equip that particular weapon and everything. So, oh my god. Okay. Yeah, he found the socket. The problem is that it's still absolutely huge. Despite the 0.2, which I think it could work, but despite that, it's still pretty bad. Okay, anyway, I don't think we care about it at the moment. We don't care about the sockets. Why is it so big though? I did 0.2 of what it was before, so it seems even bigger to me. It seems even bigger than it was before the scaling. No? I mean, if I do 1, what happens? It's as big as a temple. Okay, this guy, let's pretend that this thing is a is a pillar of a building that he just ripped apart, and he will use it. He will use it as a weapon. Okay. Now we want to. So now that we have the monster, we want to be able to hit it. Now I think collision detection is enabled. So the funny thing is that if I hit it, I think this guy will kind of fly away. No. Seems not. Why? Because it's too big? It happened with everything else, but it's not happening with this guy. Maybe because it's so big I cannot hit it in any reasonable place, but like in the balls. No, I cannot hit it in the balls. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe the axe is colliding on the ground and so is like making him impossible to move. Yeah, that's a possibility. I think the axe is like going into the ground and not allowing him to be moved. Because actually, look at what happens if I do it with this guy. Yeah? Boom. You see, I cannot throw him. I cannot throw him down there because there is physics enabled on everything, which, by the way, we should disable one day. But if I hit him again, though, nothing happens. Okay, we will see. I mean, he kind of gets a speed and then he keeps the speed forever. I mean, I don't care. Anyway, it's good that this guy doesn't fly away. Otherwise, we have to chase him forever everywhere. So, can I jump on the axe, by the way? That would be interesting. No, the axe is not colliding. He's colliding, but the axe is not colliding. Okay. But I can jump on him, I think. Right? If I find the right spot. Like this hand looks like a spot where I can jump on. No? No, I think he has a collision box. I think he has a collision box. Actually, it's moving a bit. Okay, anyway, who cares? Now we need to decide how do we want the hit to actually work, right? So if we want to hit... I mean, if you want to collide with the capsule, or if you want to collide with a monster, or what do we want to do? That's a kind of an interesting thing to reason about. I don't know if I have an answer to that, but I would like to. I think what I want to say, I want to trigger. You know, I want to trigger. Oh my God! I hit him in the right place. You see, I hit him in a specific place, probably the balls, and it just freaking flew away. Okay, that's the physics I was telling you that is enabled and is doing a bit of a mess. But I mean, if you hit him in the right place, he's actually going places. You see, he's trying to go. He's trying to go in a certain direction now. But anyway, who cares? This is not what we wanted to test. Yeah, it's kind of moving. So how do we detect if we are colliding with this guy? If we are hitting actually, how do we know that we are hitting the monster? That's a very good question. I don't know if I know. Do you know? If you know, tell me, please. Because okay, on the character we have a number of events that we can trigger, like the fact, but in this case it's not just my character colliding with the monster. Is when I trigger that animation, I want to know if my I think what I'm thinking, I need a variable. Sorry, I need a variable that is telling me if I'm attacking or not, and then whenever my weapon collides with him, I need to check if I'm attacking. So if I just launched an attack, right? If I just clicked on attack, think that is the way it should work. Now, how do I do this? Let me see if there is anyone that can tell us how to do it, okay? Because maybe it's easier to just get an example. So we'll go Unreal, detect weapon collision, right? What is the best way to do melee weapon collision, right? That is exactly what I need. Watch the third-person tutorial on YouTube. There is a whole section on punching. All you have to do is to put a collision box around the part that does damage, and then use the blueprint to make it do damage. That would be wonderful, boys. I need to add a collision box around the part that does damage. Well, in our case, that's not that easy though, because the weapon that we have is actually created by code. So I think I will have by code to add a collision box to my weapon. Yes, this is what we want to do. Yes, this is what we want to do. So I want real add collision to mesh by code. Exactly. Cannot make collision for static mesh. I want to add it by code though. I don't want to add it just by the UI, because our weapon is not. Yeah, if he explains me how to do it in the UI here, I don't give much. Yes, he's adding a sphere and a collision sphere, blah blah blah. Maybe our object already has a collision box, you know? Why should not have it? Why should not have it? Actually, I mean that because the collision box is added to the character, right? So if I go under weapons and I take my falcon, which should be under swords, if I take my falcon, which is this one, this is the actual static mesh. Is the static mesh having a collision box, or is the actor having the collision box? Now it seems that is the static mesh, because here it says collision preset block all, so it's already blocking everything. So our falcon, in theory, but because it's true, because if I drop the falcon on the ground, well, if I drop the falcon on the ground, actually I'm doing something slightly different, which is, but yeah, if I drop a falcon on the ground, I cannot walk through it. It blocks me, you know. So the static mesh is already having a collision box on it. Let me see what happens if I move it from here to the world. No, it actually works. Okay, so the weapon is actually. Can I spawn a claymore which is a bigger item claymore? Do we have the claymore thingy? I don't have. Claymore does not fit into that slot. That's very unfortunate. I wanted to have a big weapon to see why Claymore doesn't fit into that slot. Because I have the shield equipped. Okay. Now it fits, but I think the Claymore doesn't have a proper mesh. Doesn't have a proper mesh. That's annoying. Let me do it though, because I think I want it. What is the Claymore? The Claymore is here. So what we want to do, we want to take this, copy. Unfortunately, we have to close the server because we don't have yet some automatic reloading, you know, runtime reloading of information. But if I copy this, copy reference, and I put it into my database under item stats, and we take our claymore, which is number 5, and we say that our claymore as a mesh this thing, as a texture this thing. No, I think it should be a material, right? I don't know if it should be material. Anyway, I think it doesn't make a difference, because if it doesn't find it, just use the standard one. So if we apply now our claymore, which is a pretty big weapon, and that's why I'm doing it, because I want to see if he actually collides with something, you know, if he collides with something. So we should check if our weapon is colliding with something, but it should be only when we attack, because otherwise you just move forward and backward, you know, with your weapon, and it's considered that you did an attack, which is actually not true. Yes, we have the claymore. It's a pretty big one. Unfortunately, the screen is not allowing me to do much. But I mean, in terms of visibility, I mean, but you see it, right? You see the claymore, right? You see the big sword there. Okay, I want to see if this thing is colliding with stuff. So like, if I cannot move forward when I'm facing a wall like this. No, actually, it's going through it. It doesn't care at all. I go through it. Okay, so I'm not sure if this weapon is actually colliding with anything, right? I don't think it's colliding with anything at the moment. So maybe it's because when we add this weapon, we are not adding a collision. Let me check. So let me check. Where do we have this? We have this in our PS character, exactly here, when we create the new static mesh. By the way, all these printouts should go. I don't think I need any of this anymore. Let me remove them. I think it's a bit of a waste, you know, of visuals. I'm just getting confused by all these printouts. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to take this static mesh component, and be sure that this one has a collision enabled. So how do I do this? I can set collision enable, controls what kind of collision enable for this body, and this will already be something, right? So is no collision, query only. Query only is very nice. Query only means that probably I can use it as an input to my query, to my search for the collision, but it's not actually physically colliding. That would be amazing if it's like this. Physics only used for physics simulation, and collision enable, query in physics, and also simulation rigid body constraint. So we can try just to see if this setting works to do collision enable, so which is the maximum. We should probably block my character somehow. So let me go in a place that is not inside a wall, and let me quit. Let me save this and restart, and we see if we collide. Oops. Save and compile and see if we collide. Right? But I think that query will be perfect. If we can do a query object, would be amazing. I'm trying to think when the stream number 100 will happen. Because we're 96. So if we do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll arrive to 99. So it will be next week anyway. Okay, let me see if this thing collides with anything now. It doesn't. I mean, it seems that at least it's not blocking me. At least it's not blocking me. I can go through the wall without any issue, and it's not colliding with anything. This is not good though. Probably because if I have it in my hands is considered a bit different. So only my capsule is considered. Okay, let's try to see what should I do. I mean, what if I want to trigger something on this, right? So let me see if I go collision again, and I do make hit result, create a hit result structure, ignore, get movement, get overlapping component, get collision enable. So what I want to do, bind event on component begin overlap. Wow, exactly this. Okay, we can do this. Maybe should we do this after we set the mesh, because maybe it gets the collision box based on the mesh that we are adding. Yes, I think so. Let's do it after it's replicated. Okay, no, before it's replicated. So let's do it here. Okay, so here we bind this to a specific event, and the event we will just add it here. So we will add an event. What is this? I've never seen this. What is that? Maybe I have to compile. I was expecting. Okay. I exit from this. I was expecting it to create just a normal event. I don't understand why it's doing this. Why is doing this mess? Why is creating this thing, which seems to be a kind of a dummy broken thing? I don't know. Bind event on actor hit. Well, bind event on actor hit is also pretty good. But can I see, it doesn't allow me to add a normal event. That's very strange. Why I cannot add an event? Why I cannot just add an event on this? I don't get it. It's because I don't have a target, maybe? Let me try to put a target in. Maybe it needs the type of object to know. Bind event on actor hit. Target. What should be target? Target is self-object reference. It's saying static mesh component object is not compatible with self-object reference. So it's like if I need to be inside the object blueprint to actually do it. And unfortunately though, I'm not there because I'm inside my character blueprint here. So I mean, hmm. Hmm. Do you know how to solve it? If anyone watching knows what is the trick? Release at 100, you would like a release at 100? I don't know. I was thinking that making a release is pretty big effort. So I was originally planning to do very small releases here and there, but then I thought it was a very bad idea because I will spend more time making a release, you know, advertising to the people and putting the server up and working on the server that is working and then answering question of people saying that nothing works, than just working on the game, you know, then just continuously working and improving it until is basically complete. I don't know. So I don't know if I will do intermediate releases. I have no idea. Probably not. I don't know. Or maybe, yeah. Well, I mean, one intermediate release or 2 or 3 years, but I mean, not one every new functionality, you know. So I think I need more. Yeah, I need to spend more time on the game and less on releases. But that's really a pity because if you could connect this to an event, I think it would be done. Maybe, you know, we would be done. It would be done. So, but I cannot do this. Is messing up. This thing is messing up, or I'm messing up. One of the two. But you see that it's saying like, give me the object and select a function on this object, but actually this object doesn't have any function. So because this object is actually not a blueprint, so it's thinking that this object is a blueprint for some reason, but it's not. So, or I derive my static mesh component from another blueprint where I put in this kind of event, or we need to find another way. This seems to be a trick. This seems to be tricky. This seems to be tricky. Let me see if the internet can help us. So the problem we have here is that we create a static mesh and then we want to bind on collision, and this thing is not working for us. Creating collision on static mesh. This seems to be very old. Yes, thank you. I know how to enable it from the UI. This is not what I need. I need to bind on collision, you know, bind the event on collision. That's what I want. That's what I want. By the way, you can create destructible mesh. Can you believe it? Is in the engine by default. So we can destroy items in pieces. Wow. Wow. For free, you know? Without any programming. Look at this. Wow. Look at this. Boom. By default, it destroys in pieces. So nice. So nice and so easy sometimes. Okay, but I was not looking for this. I was looking for this freaking how to trigger an event through two static meshes. At the same level of CS. Well, I don't know. I think yes, or anyway, very close. You know, very close to CS. I mean, very close to the release that we have, or yeah, maybe not 100%, but like 70%. You know. While before I was thinking to do like 10%, 20%, 30%. I mean, every time a release, but I cannot do this. It's taking too much time, I think. Construction script. And spawner. But this is not what we want. This is too easy. This is if you are using a standard object. Unfortunately, we are not using a standard object. We are using an object that we created by code. You know. So it's a bit different. It's a bit different. I think I need to ask to someone that did it already. Setting collision on static mesh, attach on overlap, automated spinning blade. I need this bind event. I mean, bind event here for me is the keyword of this search. But I don't know if people did this already. I mean, I think that real games did it, obviously, but I don't know if people randomly on the internet did it, because they tend to use always the simplest solution, you know. Sometimes it's true, it's correct, but they're always trying to say, who cares? I create an actor for it, and but this thing is kind of misbehaving, you know. So do you see what it does? I mean, it's just super crazy. So you do this, you do event, and it just fucks up. Bind the event on activate, which, by the way, I mean, that doesn't know that is not my character, because in theory, this bind event on activate could be on my character. So why is not taking it? Why is not allowing me to connect a function to the bind event to the bind event on activate? Does it want it in the main? So bind event on actor begin overlap, right? If I do this, you see here we have add event. You see it? Add event at custom event. Because I'm inside a function. Okay. Because I'm inside a function, that's why it's messed up. Because you cannot create. It should tell you though, it's pretty stupid what it does, but since we are inside a function, it cannot add an event. If I want to add an event here, I cannot. Because events cannot be, you see? Events cannot be, so that's why it's messing up like this. Okay, that's good that we understood it. Now the problem is though that considering it's taking always self, I think it will never work in our case. Let me try to do something. Let me try to return the static mesh. So let me try to have on this function, let me try to have an output which will be the output will be static mesh and would be of type static mesh component. So now we have a return thingy somewhere. No? There it is. We have this return node. So after we do this, we could go and return our static mesh, which is, so let me remove this one, yes, and let me connect this here, and let me connect the static mesh here. Okay, so now this function will return the static mesh. The problem is that we can go back in our, so I keep item a keep, right? I keep item a keep. So now this function returns something. You see, static mesh here. So I could, in theory, now here do a bind on actor it whatever, right? Bind on, bind the event on component overlap, on component hit. I like the actor hit, but I don't see it anymore. Okay, let's say on component hit. Okay, so I want to bind an event on this thing. And the event will be, okay, now it works. Now it works. And the event will be, I hit something, yay. Okay, so this will be the event. And the only thing we want to do at the moment is to print something. And we want to print I hit something, yay. And then we want to print out the everything. I want to see everything here. I want to see what the hell we are. So we do an append, then we print out the hit component, the on actor component, the other component, the whatever it is, normal impulse, I have no idea what is it, we print it out anyway, and the hit as well. No, the hit we cannot. Why? An event with customizable name and parameter. No, hit result structure. Hit result structure, I don't know what is it. Can we break it? Yes, we can. Ah, okay, it's this one. This one I know. Okay, is the standard hit, the same one that you get when you are doing a trace beam or a hit beam or that thingy. Okay, for now I think we don't. I think that hit actor will be the same. Hit component will be the same. Also the locate. There's also the location, the impact point. So it is very nice. It is very nice, but we don't need. Okay, so let's do this and see what happens. If it works, I'm pretty happy. I mean, if you get any kind of result, I mean, if that printout gets triggered, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Because means that the collision of the weapon is actually working, right? Which is what we want. We want to be able to trigger something when the weapon collides. We could consider that our attack, or we could consider the swing our attack. So that's, I mean, that's a bigger topic related to combat that we have to define and decide and see what it is. But okay. I think I will change the time in the server. Okay, so in theory, let me see if I just bump into this guy. No, if I bump into this guy, it doesn't hit anything though. It doesn't. So my sword and my helm, because actually I did it on all the items that I have equipped. Right? I think yeah, as soon as I put it on, this No, but it's not triggering anything. It's not triggering any overlap. It's not triggering anything. Okay. Why? Because this doesn't collide, or why? Well, if we want, we could do it with ourselves, right? Instead of using target, we can do self, and this means that our character will collide, the whole character. Let me see if the whole character does something. Target self, no, it doesn't like it. The blueprint self is not a primitive component for techno be a connection. I don't know. Bind the event on actor begin overlap on actor hit. Come on. It's exactly the same. But okay. Okay, let's call it custom event 1. I don't care. So let's just try to do this. And then we will do the same printout. Okay. Yeah, so it's a bit messy, but it is like this. So bind the event. So we do it on self at the moment. So we do it on PS character, right? And we do it every time that we keep an item. We bind the event on actor. I don't know what happens if it binds it multiple times, or if it binds it only one time. That I have no idea, because actually we are executing this code multiple times. Not that I care, but I don't know if that is messing up. You know, we get like 10 printouts, one after another. That I don't know. The bumping radius is too small. No, I think it should actually overlap, because I cannot enter into the other character, you know, so I really bumped into it. So when I stop moving means that we collided. So in reality, we should get that printout. By the way, I'm thinking that the printout should not be on the client, should be on the server. So maybe it was already here and we never seen it. Interesting. I eat something hello. Yeah, it's on the server, boys. We were watching the wrong window. We were definitely watching the wrong window. Let me see if I hit, if the weapon is considered. Doesn't seem so. It seems that the weapon is, oh my god. Did you see? I just throw him on the other side of the plaza with one hit. I just throw him on the other side. He's here. I made him go inside the thing. Look, is eating the stone after my hit. Go away, boy. Go the other way. I hit you. No, it seems it doesn't work. I don't know, it works only sometimes. I don't understand how this physics is. But yeah, we were looking at the wrong window, boys. That's the problem. We were looking at the window of the client, but actually the yay, I eat something is on the server side. So let's redo the test we were doing before. Let's redo it because we were looking at the wrong side. So it's good that I left it here, and I did it by purpose, by the way. So let's reconnect the static mesh. Let's reconnect this event, and yes, and all the rest is the same, right? No, I have to connect this. Crap. I have to connect this, 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 okay, and this, and this. Hello, Simone. Yeah, thank you for the nice comment. I'm putting a lot of effort into it, so the results are coming, which is nice. Yeah, well, I was saying at the beginning of the stream that there is kind of stream 96, so 96 streams is quite a bit, considering we have about I mean, some streams are 3 hours, some streams are 5 hours. So some of the streams at the beginning were double streams. So I think we are close to 400 hours of streaming and of game building. So yeah, it's definitely some effort, but I like it. Okay. Yeah, the beginning. If you look at the beginning, the one at the beginning, they were really simple. Okay, so let's go. We want to see if on the server side we get a collision. Okay, so we want to see what is the server side. The server side is this guy, right? Is this guy here. So maybe we make our window smaller so we can see the printout, right? Maybe we make it like this, and maybe we put it on the right side so we see the text here. Okay, so here in this window we should see the collision, right? Now we were seeing it for the character, but now we enable it again for the weapon. No, the weapon is definitely not colliding with freaking anything. Apart from being able to throw people on the other side of the world. Did you see how this guy just bumped? But it seems to me that is not my weapon colliding, is my fist. So if I do this, it does nothing. Even if the weapon is actually going through. Oh, it did it now. Oh my god, I launched him on the top of the house. Do you see that? I throw him on the top of this house. And actually the axe now is showing at the full size. Do you see the axe? Oh my god. The axe is so huge. But this guy is stuck somewhere on top of this house now. Where is it? Yeah, it's there. You see it? It's inside the ceiling. It's inside the roof. Holy moly. I think I can fly, right? We learned that we can fly. How can we fly? I don't remember. I think we do just this. And then we detach with the shift. Yes. So yeah, I hit him and he arrived there in the middle of the house, and it goes stuck here with all his axe and all his stuff, right? The axe is kind of big. The axe is actually kind of big, maybe a bit too much, but we will reduce it a bit. Again, that's me. Hello. So the problem is that it seems to me that it works only when I punch with my body and not with the weapon. So it's like if the weapon is never colliding. Like if I go against this guy, and see, I don't. Yeah, he went there. I don't know why he went there. I mean, it's like he's running away from me. He's running away from me. What this guy's doing? I mean, there are weird things going on. I hit him again. He went here. I hit him again. Boom. I made it go to the roof. Okay, so we can hit him and we can. Okay, but it is not what we want, right? Like now we're not colliding with anything. We see, you see, our server is not giving us any collision of any kind, which is not good. Which is not good. So it seems that the collision with my character works, but the collision with the sword doesn't. Now, we need to understand if this sword actually has a collision box, because my feeling is that at the moment it doesn't have. It doesn't have. Even if I go on Claymore, let's go on Claymore for a second, because I still don't know if it's connected to the mesh. So if the collision should be here, or is something that you have to add on top, right? I really don't understand. So, but if I think I can show collision, you know? Yeah, show collision is this green thing. So it's actually having a collision box. If I do complex collision, is the wall weapon. I mean, simple collision for us will be enough. Simple collision will be enough for now. Now, is simple collision enabled anyway? Collision. Well, actually it says no collision. The Falcon was saying collision, but this one is saying no collision. We want collision. We say block all. Block all is a bit drastic, but at this point we want to trigger, you know, some effects. So let's save it again with block all. Okay. Block all means that if I drop this weapon, I should not be able to walk through it and things like that. So maybe it was not colliding. So we have a chance. Yeah, it's like flying me to the moon, exactly. It's like, boom! Power fist, boom! Smash hit. It's already, you know, it's already a special move. The game is ahead of us. That's already a special move that we will have, a special attack that we will have in 1 year from now. Okay. So we want to keep the window about this side so that we keep our server here on the right. And we see if, let me see if this thing is colliding with the wall. But you see, it's not even colliding with the wall. Even if I'm on the wall now and the weapon is definitely colliding with this, it's not giving any messages. It's not giving any messages at all. Let me try to collide with an actor. No, it's not doing it. So the weapon for some reason doesn't collide, okay? But if I drop it, it does collide. You see that I'm getting stopped when I try to walk on it, and I'm not going through it, I'm just bumping into it. So but I don't know if this is because I create an actor when I drop it. Yeah, it's probably the case though. That's probably different because when I drop it, by the way, look at the shadow automatically with the weapon on it and with the freaking helm on it. You see the shadow on the wall and on the grass. We have the proper shadow of the sword on the ground. No, I want to hit. I want this to hit. So what I'm trying to do, I want this weapon to, apart from launching people into the air like that, I want the weapon to actually collide, right? So that I can then trace, that I can know if the weapon hit the guy or didn't hit the guy. That is what I want to know. I want it to hit. I want it to collide. And then we will enable it for query only, what is called for query only, meaning that it will not physically block you, but it will be used to know if you hit the enemy. Understand? Right. You are on YouTube this time, not on Twitch. You were feeling alone on Twitch, like you were speaking and no one knew that you were speaking. By the way, this monster is flying a bit. So it's not on the ground. Okay. So what we want to do, we want to enable collision on the weapon somehow. I don't know how, but we need to solve this. We need to solve this. So now is block all at least here. Collision complexity. What is collision complexity? Maybe we should use simple and complex. Use complex as simple. Let's try this one as well. Okay. So this one we enabled. I think we don't. Okay. You open YouTube. Huh? So how do we enable collision on this thing? The thing that I did set collision enabled. Query and physics, which seems to be the strongest settings that you can have. Right? So it's for query and physics. So I used the set collision enable. Then I don't know what else I need to do. Get static mesh, get static mesh component. Maybe I have to enable it on the static mesh. If I do collision on the static mesh, nothing pops up, like 0. In the context, nothing pops up. So on the actual static mesh, it's strange though, because if I do get mesh, get section from static mesh, yes, there is a pretty complex collision system. So every character, if you go on a character, you can set, you have all these presets here on the right side that you can see, and you can create, you have different channels. Okay, so, and the different, you can enable collision different channels. For example, here, I don't know if it's very visible, but I created an ASD kind of fake channel just to test. So you can have your own channel, custom channel for collision, and you can decide that certain objects are colliding only with that. So for example, let's say that you make a spell that is surrounding you with a magical aura or a magical shield, and then you decide that that shield is a special channel for collision, and so like pistol projectiles are not going through, but punches are going through. And so you could do something like that. You could set that on that particular shield channel, the pistol bullets are blocked while the punches are not blocked. So then I never tested it, but it is what I understand that these things works. You know, that is what I think the system can do, but I never tested it specifically on these kind of channels. But yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, Unreal Engine is pretty big on this side, and it's good because it's something that everyone needs, and so they did it generic enough that anyone can can use it. The only problem I have is why we cannot collide with our thingy. So set collision enable. Let me see what other collision we have. Okay, so we have, okay, the bind event we have there. Clear more in our clear in our actor, component overlap, get collision enable, glass cause point, glass component bound, get moving in our this collision enable, this physics enable, set collision enable, set, there is also set collision object type. Set collision response to all channel. Change all the response to channel container for this primitive component to be new response. What does it mean? Okay, let's try to do this as well, because this is basically overriding the setting, which is the default setting. So we are saying that for all the channel we are going to use block. So this thing is blocking anything. And let me see if we can do also the other one, which is collision. No. Which is collision by collision response to channel. But here I'm selecting a specific channel. Okay, no. So this should be enough. That is basically saying that for all the channel we are responding block. Clipping, why clip? I don't think there is something like clipping, but let me try clipping. There is a set clipping planes, and there are some clipping things. But I don't think it's called clipping. I think it's called collision. I think collision is our keyword there. Okay, let me try now. Now I made it block all channels. Maybe it will do something. So our server is always here on the right. Boom. Okay, so at the moment it's not printing anything. It's not freaking colliding with anything. You see? It's not colliding at all. It's not colliding. This weapon is not colliding with anything. It's not colliding, boys. It's absolutely not combining. Let's punch this guy in the middle of the plaza since we are here. See you, boy. Boom. Where did he go? He went down there. He went down there. Okay, so like this is not working. Now, are we getting the right bind? Because I think we have multiple binds. So let's try other type of binds. Okay, so let's remove this one, which we don't need, and let's do so, because at the moment we are binding on component hit. Okay, we are binding on. So let me remove this because I think we are one step. Unfortunately, we are one step behind this. So this will be I hit something gay. But let me try to bind to something else. Bind event. So we can bind to component begin overlap, component end overlap, component hit, component sleep, component wake. Component activated, component deactivated. Then we can have some mouse input. So cursor over, cursor clicked. We can click on the weapon, really? Okay, let me try this. Just for fun. Add event, custom event. And this will say I clicked you. Okay, I clicked you. I just need to connect the bind. Okay. Which other kind of bind we have? Because maybe we are not binding to the right function. Is there a different state between attack and static? No, at the moment, no. But we will have it, obviously. So we will, you know, we will detect the hit only if it's in attack mode. But at the moment, we are one step before that. On component begin overlap. Let me try to bind also this one and see if it does something. Add event, custom event. So we will print begin overlap, right? We will print begin overlap. What it doesn't like? There is something it doesn't like here. No, it likes it now. Okay, let's try like this. I mean, basically, I'm trying to find at least one hook point, one trigger point, you know, in our functions that allow me to trigger the overlap. I don't know if it's the fact that is in kept as a component of our character, and so maybe there is a default setting on our character that automatically ignores the overlap of everything else, because it looks a bit like that. So sorry, where is the server? Server is there. Okay, server is here. So let me try to, again, if I bump on a wall, if I bump this freaking weapon on a wall, I was expecting it to be, you know, triggering something, but it's not. It's not doing it. I think my character is overriding something. Because it's pretty weird, it doesn't. It prints something, but it's not what we need. Oh! I hit something, yeah. It did it now. Is it the weapon of this character that is... Wait a sec. Is it weapon versus weapon that is working? No. It does it here. It does it here when I hit, only when I hit the weapon of this guy. So let me remove my weapon for a second. Yeah, it does it if I push on this weapon. If I push on this weapon, it says I hit something, yeah. If I push on this weapon, why? Yeah, but the question is, why does it there and doesn't do it for my weapon? Let me try to keep a falcon as well. So now I have a falcon on me. Doesn't do anything. My falcon doesn't trigger anything. My falcon doesn't trigger anything, but his falcon is triggering. You see? As soon as I push on this, it's triggering this one, which is the bind event on component hit. Yeah, the question is why his weapon and not my weapon, considering that both are getting equipped exactly in the same way. So they go through this piece of code. Both of them go exactly through this. Is it because he's another actor, which is not myself? Should not be. Hit component. Let me try to print out some stuff, because now I deleted it, but now I need it again. So, so this one is somehow triggers. Unfortunately, it triggers only in that case, which is when my character is pushing on the falcon for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea why it triggers only there. No idea. But at least let's see which kind of information we get, okay, out of this. Let's see which kind of information we get. Let me just change the server time, because I'm so annoyed of changing doing the display override all the time. I think our night should be less dark. At the moment it's very dark. So if I go under server options and I refresh and I take the time, at the moment it's 4 p.m. It's 4 a.m. So let's do 10 a.m. Okay, so we will have the whole day before it becomes night again. Okay, good. So did I save that? Yes, I saved it. Okay, let's try to see what it does. So when my character is in contact with that weapon, it works. But for example, if I push on the other weapon, the X of the monster, it doesn't. Maybe it's because it's not a falcon. Maybe the falcon is different for some reason. Maybe. So what is our server? Is here. Is here. So if I push here, nothing happens. If I push here, this is what we get. We get crank character C0 static mesh component 1, falcon V1 V02. Yeah, unfortunately I could have placed some freaking spaces between the thingies. And crank character 1, crank character C1. Okay, so it's basically crank character C1 colliding with crank character C0. Now, if I am C1 or C0, I have no idea. Why is always night if it's 10 a.m.? I said freaking 10 a.m. Okay, anyway. Crank character C0 static mesh, component 1, Falcon 0102. But you see that, yes, Falcon 0102 is actually, I think also the lady has a Falcon in her hand. Let me see. No, she has it on the ground because she has a problem of... so now we are not colliding. And by the way, on her we cannot move her. Even if we hit, we cannot move her. So she has some issue with the skeleton. But it's okay. So we don't hit here. We don't hit here. Actually, we can go through the X. You see, we can go through the X without any problem. Well, we cannot go through the Falcon. So let me try to equip, just as a test. Let me try to equip. Let me make this like midday. I want to see. Because the server was up, so it didn't. It saved it on. Okay. It saved the time when the server quit, I think. No? I didn't commit? Oh, something happened. My 10 o'clock didn't save. Okay. So let me see. I want to change the weapon of that big guy. Instead of an axe. So the big guy is NPC number 5. So if I check the item instances of NPC number 5, we should have one which is exactly this, which has an item ID of 6, right? While we want an item ID, no, item ID of 6 is correct. Item ID of 6. Right? Item stats ID standards number 6. 6 is a Falcon, it's not a. Yeah. Sorry. It's not 5. It's 33. It's 33 because that's the Smith. So the Smith 33 or 34. Wait a second. Now it was Fighter 1, right? We changed Fighter 1. Fighter 1 is number 6, is the race that is 33. Okay, Fighter 1. So number 6. Okay, here it is. Number 6. Item stats ID. Okay, should become 6. Apply. Finish. Okay, now the monster has a Falcon. Because I want to see if it's something enabled on the Falcon, or if it's something special about that hero. I mean, why we are getting a collision only in that point? Why? Yeah, I know he holds the axe in the wrong way. I know, and it's very visible considering the size of the axe. Yeah, because I just added a quick socket and I didn't care about the position. Okay, now it's a huge Falcon. So let's, yeah, the Falcon collides. Is the item itself that collides, you see? Like see how much is printing it here now? Is the item itself that collides. But the funny thing is that it's not my Falcon, it's the one of someone else. Because my Falcon, for some reason, even if he collides, in theory it doesn't collide. You see? So it's when that moves. I mean, when something. Let me try with the armor, because the armor is moving. Let me see if the armor moves on top of me. I mean, if the armor pushes on my Falcon, if it, I think it will come back here. I think she's cycling between different places. No? It should be moving. Because I don't know if the collision is triggered when something moves. Why does this thing is not moving anymore now that I need it to move? I hit it and it runs away. Okay, so now I think it will come back this way. Yeah, the only problem is that when she sees me, she stops, because that's how we organize the blueprint. So if she tries to come back, she will stop as soon as she sees me. So she will never collide with me unless I'm really like this. I don't remember what is the logic. I think it was just a randomizer, and the randomizer was randomizing different location, and she was moving. Well, I mean, I can do it with another client. It's probably easier, right? Let's do it with another client instead of waiting the freaking armor. You can just connect with another client and see if another character collides with that, what happens. That's easier. But it was definitely not working with the axe. The axe was not working. I could go through the axe and it was doing nothing. So if I connect with another character, and I go here and try to push on the weapon of this guy. Okay, let me see first the server window. Server window at the moment is printing this. Okay. So if I push on that, yeah, I see. Yeah, it's when something moves. I mean, if I move on it, it triggers. If something moves, it triggers. So, but in our case, we will not move. We want to see if we are standing still and playing a certain animation, right? So this kind of overlap, this kind of trigger is not the one that we want. This trigger is not what we want. But anyway, at least it triggers, which is already something. At least it triggers. At least it triggers. Bind event on component hit. The problem is that, you know, we need, so or we do a trace from our weapon to the enemy and we see if he is at short range. We could also do that, but I don't like it. I really would like that the weapon, if the weapon hits, it hits. If it misses, it misses. So it means that if you are here and you are trying to swing, but you swing just, you know, you swing just on the side, maybe you miss it, you know. So by the way, it seems that this guy cannot move us. Right? Yeah, he cannot move us. I hit something. Yay. Bind event on component hits. Bind event on component hits. So what I'm thinking is that the animation itself the animation itself may have a setting which says if is used for physics or not. I have this feeling. I have this feeling that there is a setting here. Look at this guy, by the way. Look at how look at how fashionable it is. Look at that. Okay. I'm thinking. I'm thinking there may be, there is a way to tell to the engine that we want the animation not only to play, but also to collide. Because I don't think by default you want that, right? So usually you don't care if your character is waving, that is colliding with something, or is generating triggers on what is colliding with, but maybe something that we have to enable. Maybe something that we have to enable. So yeah, I think so. I think it's like this, but I need to understand how to do it. So Unreal animation collision. How to make collision move along with animated mesh. Animation physics collision. Door animation plus collision. Yes, this could be a good one. Hi guys. So this guy is making the door, then is making, okay, is adding the audio to make the crack when is, so he's doing all the thingy. He's putting the sound, he's putting a lot of things, that is adding a keyboard to actually interact with the door, opening and close it. Okay, very nice. Yes, I want to add a collision. Okay, we know how to add collision. Didn't help me at all. Didn't help me at all. I mean, okay, he added the collision, he added the thing, but the problem is that I would need something else. I would need something else. So I want custom collision and skeleton mesh, collision adjustment. I mean, punch animation and collision, I mean, it's something like this, but I'm not completely sure that punch animation and collision. I mean, punch animation and collision. Right. So here is adding a socket, and sphere collision. Okay, he puts a sphere collision on his hand and he's connected to that. So let me see what it is. Is this which kind of object he added? He added a sphere collision. He added a sphere collision. He added a sphere. You see it? He added a sphere collision. He added a sphere collision. He added a sphere collision. Maybe a sphere collision is different than. So maybe we need to add. I mean, we can add it. We can add. I mean, I was expecting actually the collision to be already there, but I mean to be the weapon itself, because I have actually a collision primitive on this weapon, right? And I was expecting this to be the collision of the weapon and not vice versa, but seems it's not working. So I'm thinking that if let me keep a weapon with this guy as well. Okay, so if I do /item falcon, so I get a free falcon, which is always very nice, and I keep it in my right hand. Okay, so I have it equipped, and okay, I don't get any collision at the moment, even if I'm pushing on him. But what about if I play this animation? Now you see it's the same, it doesn't collide. If I'm just playing an animation, if I just play an animation, it doesn't collide. It's only if I push on it. There is also something true, that is that at the moment I'm playing the animation only on this client. And that may be a problem, huh? Because in reality, when I'm trying to attack, when I'm doing this animation is not replicated. So the other client doesn't see it. So probably the fact that it's not replicated means it will not collide with anything. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. Because you see, if I do this, you see the other client doesn't see me even crouched. It doesn't even see me crouched because it is not mirrored server side. It is not mirrored server side in any way. So maybe I should do it and see if then moving maybe I should do it, and then when it's server side, maybe you can calculate the collision. Yeah, that could be the case. That could be the case. Okay, so let's try to mirror to the server side this thing. Okay, how do I replicate? Can I replicate an animation automatically? Is there a nice setting like the set is replicated but for animations? Because I really would like to. I really would like to have a setting as nice as the other one that we had before, which is just replicating. Well, maybe if I do it server side, it's automatically replicated. That could be an option. Let me see how we play that animation at the moment. At the moment, we play that animation with this anim attack, I think. Do one set anim delay, yes. Yes, so that's it. So, but if we make this run on server, instead of doing it like this, we make it run on server and reliable. So we change this function to be server side, and change this function to be server side. Now I don't know if it gets replicated automatically, I have no idea. But let's start to make it server side and see what happens. I mean, it's executing on server, but it's still executing inside my PS character, so I mean, it should be fine, right? It should be fine. I think this should be a replicate. I think if I do multicast, it replicates the event from the server to everyone else. Server execute the event locally too. Only call from this from the server. Only call this from the server. So I don't know. Let's try one thing at a time. Let's try one thing at a time. I think the server should multicast that. I think this will not work, but it will work if I call another event, then is multicast, that the server is sending to everyone. Which, by the way, is removing all the... Wow, this is another good thing. I think if that works, we can remove some other code that I have, which is really not needed anymore. Okay, here we have the first character, and now we need a second character. Now we need a second character. This guy. So, okay, movement obviously works. He's not attacking anymore. Is not attacking anymore, meaning that probably the server is seeing it, but my client and the other clients are not. Okay, yes, which is what I was telling you. So I think it will not work this way until I multicast to the other clients. So let me try to do something. Let me create another event which we call anim attack multicast, and this one we call anim attack multicast, and this one is multicast reliable, and all this code is actually connected here, and this one is just like this. So in this case, what we are doing, we are ensuring that we are server side, and then when we are server side, we are executing this piece of code on every single client, including the server, right? Including the server. So I think that now that movement should replicate. And then my question is if finally when we hit with the weapon we generate the event. We generate the event. Luckily, starting a client doesn't take too much. It takes like 10 seconds, I don't know, 20 seconds. So it's pretty quick to do tests. Even if we have to start the client, start 2 clients and start the server, but overall it's very quick. Considering how much stuff is doing every time is starting out, like loading the world database, creating characters, equipping weapons. I mean, it's doing a bunch of stuff. Okay, so now in theory, if I do my thing, no, it doesn't see it. Apart from the fact that it's not in view, but it doesn't see it. I was pretty sure it would do it. I was pretty sure it would do it, but it doesn't. Well, actually, I see it on myself now, though, because I was not seeing it on myself, right? Now I see it on myself. I see the attack on myself. So at least he's replicating it. He's replicating it to me. Execute on all. Is executing it on for this particular PS character. I don't know exactly how this multicast works, but the multicast is saying that replicates this event from the server to everyone else. Server execute this event locally too, only calls it from the servers. Yeah. So it should be executing this on all the clients. So if we can try to print out something, but like multicast and see, but I think it should execute on all the clients because that's the whole point, you know. This function is being created for that. Crap, the editor. I closed the editor. So I think this still needs a bit of reasoning on it, on exactly how to do it. I think maybe finding a good example could help us, because I think it's a pretty standard thing that we are trying to do. I don't think it's anything special. I mean, apart from the fact that we have a custom weapon in hand created with this add static mesh, but I mean, should not be dramatically different from not having a mesh. Should be pretty similar. Now, the problem is that the server is not colliding. I mean, it's colliding only when we are moving. It's colliding only when we are moving. It's not colliding when we play an animation, which is exactly what we want though. It's exactly what we want. Let me see if that message reaches my client, by the way. Multicast. Okay, yeah. So it reaches this client at least. Let me see if that message reaches the second client. Maybe just the second client doesn't know on which character it should apply. That's possible. Or the fact that we are not entering combat mode. That could be, huh? That could be. Because in reality here, I'm doing two things. I'm pressing tab to enter combat mode. And then, so I'm pressing tab, but you see that the tab is not. So let me see if multicast is printed everywhere. Yes, multicast is printed here, and it's printed twice here. Yeah, so yeah, so in reality, the command is executed, but my character, why is not moving? Why is not moving? We are setting this to attacking. Okay. We are setting this to attacking. Target an instance. Read the variable of an instance. I don't know if this variable is actually being set properly. An instance. Is this an instance replicated anyway? No. Should be replicated. Yeah, this one should be replicated. Maybe we are not replicating properly that thingy. Let me try again by replicating that variable. Because this variable is used here, right? Is used through this process. So as usual, I'm launching one server and two clients. One is this, another is this. Yeah, testing with two clients starts to be a bit time consuming, but I think that when we have the basic setup, we will not need to test anything anymore. It will just work. Okay, so we have our two clients. Oops. And so if we tab and hit, no, it's not replicating. It's still not replicating the movement. It's still not replicating the movement. Why is this? Why? When are we setting this anime instance? Let me check. Anime instance, find references, set anime instance. So this one is set. On the Cran anime blueprint is set to Mesh, get animation instance. I don't know if it checks that I'm in the tab mode before playing the animation or if it doesn't care. Right? I don't know if that's a kind of a prerequisite for it to actually work. Like in combat mode, because actually we are not in combat mode. Character movement, user interface interaction. Where do we go? Mouse and keyboard. Where do we go in combat mode? Right mouse button, play animation. If we are in first person mode, yeah, that is the first person mode, right? Which is the one that is triggering. So there are some branch, play animation, new animation. Anim attack. Anim attack is actually this one, which is executing on server. So when I click this, is actually, I mean, the multicast, we are sure that it goes on all the clients. We are sure that it goes on all the clients. I don't know if it's this do once that is fucking us up, because let me try something different. Let me try just to do this, okay? Even if it's a bit stupid, but I want to see if it works. I want to see if it's a problem of timing and do once and some other stuff that is in between, or it's just that setting the animation to play is not playing the animation at all. This is what I want to see. And if any of you has some insight or some ideas, please let me know so that we test your ideas as well, okay? Unfortunately, on this part, I'm not an expert, and well, also on the other parts, by the way, but in this one particularly is the first time I do it, and so it's not very easy to come up with a solution. Okay, so now we see both characters in two different clients. We play the animation by and the other client is not replicating, and it's not replicating at all. It's not replicating, unfortunately. It's not replicating at all. Now, strange though, because we have this multicast replication enabled, so this is executed on the server. This is calling this one, which is multicast reliable. So, and actually we see this print out on all the clients, and then we just do set attacking, and the set attacking should trigger in our CRAN blueprint, right? If I go here, it should trigger my attack. State machine. Hit, attack, attack range, idle ranged, idle ranged. Idle one-handed. What is this exactly? Because I'm a bit confused about this. Idle one-handed is doing. It's doing this. So in theory, if we don't go into this position, we cannot play the animation. Okay. Because you see the state machine says that I go from idle to idle one-handed. And this check is that I'm in combat, right? I'm in combat and I have a weapon class one-handed. So maybe what I could do, I should ensure that these two variables are also replicated. Because maybe since these two are not replicated, my character doesn't go into that state. Right? At the end, it's just a matter of understanding how the engine works, and then, I mean, like the basics of that, and then I think we can. Why is doing this bad symbol? Like he cannot compile. Okay, saying that some of this will never hit to. Okay, this one will never be, but it's okay. We don't care about this one. We don't use it. So now that's replicated, right? So all those variables are replicated now. So if it's purely based on the state machine, and those things are replicated server side, I just don't understand if I have to multicast those variables back to the other clients, or if those variables, when I say replicated, are automatically multicasted to the other clients. There is something that I don't know, and I don't know how it works. Okay. So no, it seems it's not replicating at all. It's not replicating at all this thing. It's not doing it, boys. It's not doing it. Why is not doing it? I mean, the expectation that we have is that if we play an animation, that animation should be replicated. So I'm pretty amazed by the fact that it's not working like this as a default, you know? So that, like, if I jump, the jump is replicated automatically, right? Why the jump yes and the attack no? That's a good question, right? Why the jump yes and all of this no? What's the difference? I mean, we have the jump. I think we have the jump in somewhere in our movement. Don't remember where we have it, but we have it somewhere for sure. If I search jump, right, I have this function which is called jump and stop jumping, input action jump, which I think is the keyboard, the space, the space on the keyboard. That is just on my character blueprint. And what is jump doing? Oh my god, jump is a C++ class. Maybe jump then is a bit special, because jump, it seems to be managed directly in C++ and not in our blueprint, so maybe they do something crazy about it and they replicate it automatically. Okay, that's a problem. I mean, our only issue is that we need to replicate, we need to replicate the state machine to all the clients. I just need to be sure that whatever state I get in my state machine, it goes to all the other clients. Should not be a hard question, In general, your animation blueprint for single and multiplayer games should not differ to a large extent. As you have mentioned, animation are often triggered by Boolean flags. Thus, additional attention should be paid to the way these flags are set. In other words, variables that are important to gameplay should only be modified on the network authority, so server, and then replicated to remote machines client. In this situation, you can set a variable to replicated, which means the variable produces a 1-1 copy of the variable that is replicated from the server to the client, so the after animation will trigger in multiplayer. If you'd like to learn more about variable replication in Blueprint, please go here for the blah blah blah. Yeah, so basically what this guy is saying if you change a state machine, do it on the server side, don't do it on the client side, and which, okay, we can adapt, let's say, our code to that. We can definitely adapt that. But I mean, in our case, it's pretty simple because we have the tab. I mean, we could start to work on the tab only. The tab is just playing the combat idle. Okay. So the combat idle at the moment is not replicated, and that's already annoying. And I don't know why. Right. So maybe we can start from that, which is the simplest case, and see why it's not replicated. One component begin overlap. Why we have this thing here? One component begin overlap, one component end overlap. We should remember this because I don't know if this one is kind of overriding, the one that we have in our weapon. We should check that as well. It is something else I have to investigate. Definitely something else I need to investigate. But anyway, back to the basics. So when I press tab, I don't know if we added it to the project settings under input. Let me see if there is a tab for combat mode. Do you see a combat mode? Mouse mode. Yes, mouse mode tab. Okay, so there should be a mouse mode input somewhere. Okay. Which is exactly here. Input mouse mode. This does a flip-flop, okay, between the two. For example, it's setting this variable. It's setting mouse captured. I think that is the jump function that came up only now. Which is a bit fun, by the way. If I search jump, it will probably be yes. Sometimes it open up the can jump. Character jump. B press jump. True. So it's only doing this, by the way. Probably doing it server side, but it's only doing this. Okay. So it's setting this variable, which is mouse captured, and then is changing the mouse mode. Okay. And then is launching this thing, anim combat mode on. Anim combat mode on, which is setting this to in combat. And okay, we can do the same on this one, right? It's exactly the same. So if I change this one to be run on server and reliable, and then I create a new event which is called anim combat mode, please, combat mode multicast, right? Which is multicast, execute on all, and this one is actually doing this work, and this one is doing nothing else than calling combat multicast, right? And this one goes here. So I mean, if this has any logic, right? I mean, if this multicast really works somehow, it will basically set this variable everywhere in every client. This in combat for this particular client, we'll set it everywhere. So that's my understanding. The problem is that it's not doing. It's not doing it, boys. Let me try again now with this change, but it's not doing it. So it seems that this multicast is not working as I was expecting. It's doing something else. Or anyway, it doesn't work with state machines and variables on state machines, something like that. Even if the answer of that guy, which seemed to be a guy that knew what he was saying, because he actually gave a pretty good and long-winded answer, right? This guy really said that yes, in general, you should just replicate, these variables. You should just have the server set the variables and then replicate them to remote machine. So it seems to me that what he's saying, it goes with my reasoning. But something as simple as the combat mode doesn't replicate. Okay. So ah ah it works now. Okay. So why it works now? Because probably the attack animation was in need of the combat mode first as a prerequisite. And so since we didn't have the combat mode replicated, then the animation was not replicated. Okay, now our point is that we want our weapon to actually collide, but it seems to me it is not colliding at all. So now the server is doing the same, right? The server is doing the same, so it's moving the character exactly in the same way, and the weapon is swinging on the server side in the same way. So I thought this was the problem. So I was thinking that this was the problem, but actually it's not. I'm going through the character. I'm pretty sure I'm going through him, right? Well, now I hit it, but I hit it with my hand. But yeah, it seems that there is no collision. There's still no collision between me and between my weapon and the enemy. Still no collision when I'm playing the animation. When I'm moving, when I'm pushing on it, like when I'm walking on it like this, you see, I walk on this big weapon here and we collide. You see on the server here is colliding everywhere. So it's colliding like this, but it's not colliding like this. And I'm definitely hitting it. I mean, I'm going through it, right? Now I cannot see it for real. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we are going through it. Yeah, my hand is going through it. So it's not saying that I'm hitting anything. Only if I push on it with my body. You see, if I push with my body, then I hit it. But when I play the animation, it's not hitting anything. Now for some reason the animation fucked up. Okay. Okay, anyway. I don't know what happened. Now I'm stuck in combat mode forever. But yeah. So it's not the fact that it should be server side. It's not that. It's not the server side thingy. It's something else. Is that my animation is not triggering. So my problem is that animation is not triggering collision. So static mesh animation for Unreal. Yeah, this is not what we need. This is not what we need. This punch anime. Okay, I think I will review. I mean, I have to do some study on this, so I will review. I will review these things, trying to understand if there is a good example, and based on that, we will do some tests tomorrow. Because at the moment, apart from the fact that I'm finishing the time because it's midnight, but I think the problem that we have is that the animation is not triggering, is not changing the collision box, or is not moving the weapon. So it's not yes, the collision box is not changing when I'm animating the character somehow, which is weird though, but I think that is what it is. So if I show the collision here, can I show the collision? Show collision. Show collision, no. Because in the animation, hello Hammy, in the animation it doesn't seem that I have a collision settings, right? Animation mode default, allow different skeletons, profile. Hello Hammy, we are a bit stuck into a problem that I cannot solve, and trying to understand, because I can see the collision, I think here. No, not even. I can see it on the mesh. Yeah, the problem is the following. When I walk into another character, obviously generate collision. Okay. Maybe it's easier if I show you, because if I just trying to tell you, it's too complex. Just show you from the server. Hello, NA. I can just show you, and maybe you can give me an advice. Okay, so basically, let me log in. Okay, I'm here. So I'm printing every time I collide with an actor, with something. I'm printing something on the server side. Okay, so we get a bunch of printouts. Now we show you, like, oops, this is my server window, and this is my client. Right? Let's put the server window down here. So if I go here on this character, and I push on this weapon, on his weapon, this one, the one that he has in his hands, the server, you see, it triggers like 1 million collisions. Okay, which is what I want, right? Which is what I want. Nice. Now, if I do the same, but I do it not by pushing on the character, but with the attack animation, like this, even if I'm, let's say, close, okay, now there is physics, so I have hit the character and I sent it to the other side of the moon, but you see that it didn't trigger anything. So it didn't actually trigger a collision. And the same I can... Why I'm stuck? I think the server still has that character here somehow. That's interesting. Okay. And the same is this. You see that there is a giant weapon. Okay, so it's a huge weapon. And if I push on it, I generate the events for collision. But if I just hit it with my sword, and so with my animation never does it. So it seems that only movement. No, it didn't disappear. It was like, if I search it, it's somewhere down here. I mean, it was thrown into the sky. I don't know what it is. But so if I push on it and I move, the collision is triggered. But if I just play an animation, even if this animation is played also server side, because I double checked that, and is actually multicasted to all the clients, so everyone sees that I'm doing this, including the server. You see the multicast going on there. This is not triggering anything. Is generate overlap event checkbook enabled in the X detail panel? Okay. Why you say overlap? And no, because at the moment I can show you what I did in my character blueprint. In the keep of the item, I'm creating a static mesh, because actually I'm creating the static mesh in the hand of the character by code, or anyway by blueprints. Okay, so here what I do, I create the static mesh, I attach the actual geometry, I enable the collision. You see here that I did set a collision enabled, block all, so I'm blocking all the channels, so just to be sure that I'm generating collision all the time. Then I'm setting to replicate it, and then that's it, right? So you are saying that I have to, so no, wait a second. Then what I'm doing, a keep, if I go here and I search a keep, what I'm doing is to take the resulting item that I just created in the hand of the character, and I'm binding to a component hit, right? Which is this event, and this thing is the thing that we were seeing on the server. So it was printing, I hit something, right? I hit something. This was the printout that we were seeing. So I'm using bind component hit event. Now you're saying generate overlap event, which may be slightly different. I don't know if there is an overlap. I mean, there is a bind event on component begin overlap. Is this one that you think I should use instead of component hit? I can try component overlap. It's no problem to me. No, I have it already. I have it already on begin component begin overlap. I have it already. Look at this. I have it already here because I tried all the possible bind, you know. I tried all the possible bind, and this one should print begin overlap, but it's not triggering as well. It's not triggering as well. So I don't know, I'm a bit stuck into this. You are saying that I should go into the item itself, and let me go to the item itself. The item itself is inside weapon, sword, and falcon. And this falcon guy, you are saying there should be an overlap here. Overlap. I don't see overlap here. This one is the static mesh, right? Even if the collision should be here, because right, the collision settings, you see at the moment in terms of collision we are using block all, collision enabled, war static. So we are basically blocking everything. But it's not working. I can try to do this, to use complex as simple. I mean, to set this variable as well, so that I'm sure I have a collision box, you know. You see, complex collision. I think it should already be there. I can do use complex as simple, so I'm sure that this triggers somehow. Or this is even better because it's even a bigger bounding box, you know. So yeah, so I don't know if you can test it. I don't think it's too hard to test. Maybe if you do it on a completely different project. But the point is, I need a solution for this. So I need a solution that my weapon is actually, when I hit with my weapon anything, being a wall, being another character, being something else, I would like a trigger. I would like a trigger, and then from the trigger down, I can do, you know, I can work myself from the trigger down. But at the moment, I'm not able to generate this trigger in any way. So let me see now that I changed the collision type. Multicast. I mean, for sure now I'm going through this thing, but you see, so I mean, my hand is inside of it, but it's not triggering. It's not triggering at all. It's not triggering any collision. So I don't know if, you know, if when I'm playing an animation, if by default the engine is not colliding. And to me it seems so, because, you know, consider this. I'm here and I cannot push this weapon, okay, because this weapon is colliding with me, right? So I cannot push it. But if I go into this mode and I play this animation, I'm actually going through it, right? I'm actually going through it, and it's not triggering the so I think that at the moment animations are not colliding. I mean, the collision box is not changing based on the animation. Okay, unfortunately I have to go, but if any of you wants to do some test, even on an empty project, and try to solve this problem, will be very helpful, because we need a solution, and we need it quick, because I would like to move on and start to do the attack part and everything else. So we need to have a solution to generate any trigger or any event in blueprints, or even server side. I mean, it's the same, any kind of trigger when our weapon is hitting something. And at the moment I don't know how to do it. Let me see if I should check in something in SVN. Probably not. I don't think that tonight. Ah yes, we added the character. We added a few things. Well, yes, well, maybe we added also the replication of few parts. Yeah, maybe I can. I did some changes to PS character. Yeah, so I can check in this. So fix display of items on client startup, and then added animation for lover animation blueprint for lover, and then did some tests. No, I also enabled replication on all clients of combat mode and attack animation. Yeah, that I think I can check in. Should be fine. I don't think he will mess up with anyone. Yes. Okay. Boys, I need to go. Thanks for watching. I will probably stream again tomorrow. If you can do some tests on this, would be very nice. And yeah, see you tomorrow evening, or tomorrow is Friday, right? Yes, or Saturday afternoon, right? See you, boys.